In this video, I'm going to show you one of the coolest, fastest, most accurate all-in-one smart locks that you can buy. If you don't already have a smart lock and you're looking to get one, you're definitely going to want to be interested in this. And if you do already have one, you're going to want to upgrade, and I'll tell you why. This is the LOCKIN VENO Pro. Now this smart lock has pretty much every feature that you could want in a door lock, but it's got one major difference that makes it stand out amongst all the rest. And if you're like me and you have smart locks around your house that do have built-in fingerprint sensors, you'll know that they're not reliable. But with this smart lock, you'll never have to worry about that again because it uses your palm to unlock the door, and super quick. Especially me being here in Colorado, it's very dry, so your fingertips here are typically very dry and cracking, and they usually never work with the fingerprint sensor. But this smart lock works even when your hands are dirty, wet, or dry, unlike fingerprint sensors. And the smart lock doesn't read the skin of your palm, it actually reads the veins that are underneath your skin, which never change. And if you're concerned about security, LOCKIN's slogan is "Your home connection secured." And their vision is connecting and guarding all family members through technological innovation, becoming the most trusted partner for families worldwide. And because of that vision, their lock is verified by TÜV Rheinland to be 99.9% accurate. It's also the world's fastest at less than 0.17 seconds recognition and 50 times more secure than fingerprint recognition. The lock also has a rechargeable battery that should give you about 3 months of use before it needing to be recharged, but it can also be charged up using a solar panel that attaches directly to your door, so you never have to worry about charging again. It also has an integrated 2K fisheye lens with a 180-degree field of view panorama monitoring camera that will allow you to see everything around it from a person's head to toe with no blind spots. It's also capable of package detection and highlighted moments, but those features will be added in future updates. And the one thing that I absolutely love and can appreciate is the fact that this system does not require any subscriptions to view the live feed or recorded clips. You can easily check everything right from the free app. And I know this smart lock works really well because I actually got to see it in action when I went to CES. This smart lock also works with most of your popular home automations such as Google Home, Amazon Alexa, Apple Home, and Samsung SmartThings. And full disclosure, some of the nice people over at LOCKIN did reach out to me asking me if I wanted to review their brand new VENO Pro lock, and of course I did, but I'm not being paid for this review. So first I'm going to show you what we get inside the box, then I'm going to go over the installation, and then I'm going to show you how all the features work. And if you guys do want to pick this up, I will be putting product links in the video description. So let's get started. All right, so first off, it comes in this really nice packaging. You can see here everything that it works with: Matter, built-on thread, Amazon Alexa, Google Home, Samsung SmartThings, and Apple Home. So here we have our quick start guide. Inside we have our manuals. And just so you guys know, I do have the optional solar panel that I will be installing as well. All right, so here we have the door locks. Wow, this door lock is heavy. It's made of all metal, so you don't have to worry about anybody breaking it to get into your house. Now, the one thing I absolutely love about this is it has so many ways to unlock the door. We've got our touchpad here, which is made of a kind of like a matte glass. Looks really nice, feels nice and smooth. We have a built-in fingerprint sensor. We also have the palm unlock, which is on the top here. We have our camera for monitoring, and if by chance the battery does die, you also do have the option to unlock the door with a key. So you're pretty much covered any way you need to get inside your house. It's also got this really nice solid rubber pad on the back here so it doesn't scratch up your door. And here we have all the electronics. And if we also look at the bottom of the lock, you can see that it also has a USB Type-C cable, and that's where we're going to plug in the solar panel. And here is the inside portion of the door lock itself. Looks like we have a part for a battery or something, maybe goes in the back here. And the door lock itself for the inside, this piece is made of plastic. It's not nearly as heavy as that because this doesn't need to be. It's on the inside of your house, so you don't have to worry about somebody trying to break out. We've got another metal piece here with a rubber pad on it. again, so it doesn't scratch up your door. And here is the battery. Feels pretty nice. And I'm assuming this goes over, yeah. So this piece comes off just like that. And then you put the battery in place right here. And if we take a look at the side of the battery, you can see that it is charged up using USB Type-C. So if you have a phone charger, wall adapter, or something like that, something that uses USB Type-C, you can very easily use it to charge up this battery. So that's pretty cool. Very easy to take off and take the battery out if you need to recharge it. We have some accessories here. Here we have our keys. We've got some screws here. We have the plate for your door, which is pretty thick. Nice and solid metal. We also have the door lock itself, some screws. This piece goes into the other side of your door, and we also have the other door plate that goes on the other side of your door as well. Looks like to be a brushed metal. Looks really nice. And like I said, I'm going to go through the full installation so you know what you're getting into before you actually purchase it. And that's pretty much it for the box. So now let's move on to the installation. So the very first thing we need to do is to make sure that you charge up your battery before you start the installation. When you plug it into the USB Type-C port, you'll see that the little LED will light up red, and when it's done charging, it'll be green. It'll typically take about 6 to 8 hours to charge. Next, we're going to take our door lock. It has a little wire on it. You want to make sure that the wire is going towards the inside of the door here. We'll just fish that through the hole first, and then we'll put in our lock again. Where it says top, make sure that goes towards the top and the wire is going towards the inside of your door, and then just press this into place. Just like that. Then we'll take a couple screws from the B portion of the little kit and we'll screw those into place here on the top and the bottom of the lock. You also want to make sure that this little T is in the dead center of the door lock hole before we continue the installation. Then we're going to take the outside portion of the door lock. We're going to make sure that this little metal piece here is going totally horizontal, and it needs to go into the little slot of the door lock itself, and we're going to fish the wires underneath the door lock so they come out the other side of the door. Then we'll just press that into place. Just be careful because nothing's holding it into the door right now, so it's just kind of resting there. Then we're going to take our little inside door plate, making sure that the top portion is going towards the top of the door, and we need to take out our 2 screws from the little packet. Notice that half of the screw is threaded and half is smooth. So we're going to need to fish all of our wires right through this little hole in the middle here before we put any of the screws in. And make sure they go underneath this little metal piece on the other side. And we'll just kind of pull these through and put that over the center just like that. So all the cables are coming out underneath the little silver metal piece on the top here. And then we can install our screws. Just make sure that when you put these screws in, hold on to the outdoor side of the door lock so nothing falls. Don't totally tighten down the first nut because we need to make sure that everything is adjusted before we do the final tightening. The screws should tighten in pretty easily. If you come across resistance right off the bat, just unscrew the screw and then try retightening it because it shouldn't be super tight in the beginning. So once again, don't tighten it all the way down. Just make sure that it's a little snug so you can kind of still move everything around and then make sure everything is straight before we do our final tightening. I think that looks pretty good. So now we're going to install our inside door lock, and you can see that we're going to connect these wires up to the connections inside this little piece here, and you can't really mess it up because they only fit into one slot. And it'll look just like that when you're done. Then we need to make sure that the door lock here is facing up and down, not horizontal. And we're going to place the little metal piece directly into this little metal piece in the back and try to make sure that none of these wires get pinched in the process. Then it just presses on just like that. Then we're going to take our 3 black screws, and there's going to be 3 little holes on the back of the inside lock that we need to screw these into. Then once those are tightened down, just make sure that your door lock opens and closes by rotating the lock here. And it's pretty smooth. Works perfectly. Then we'll install our battery. Please open the LOCKIN Smart app and add the LOCKIN Smart lock. We'll take off the cover from the front camera. And then just make sure your manual keys work. Then once your installation is done, you're going to take the manual and scan the QR code with your phone to download the app. So then once you've created an account for your LOCKIN app, we're going to go to Add Device. All right, so here we are adding device, Add. We're going to add the Veno Pro. We're going to confirm. I have read, proceed. I have installed. We're going to set up our Wi-Fi. Then we need to remove the back cover really quick. And we need to press and hold this little button here until it beeps. Start reset. Factory data resetting. So we didn't need to press and hold, we just needed to press it in once, and now it's Bluetoothing. Connecting to Wi-Fi. All right, so then we'll click at next. Front door. All right, so it added my password. I'm going to name it me. Now we need to scan our palm. So we'll click start. Please hold your palm near the palm vein reader. Registration successful. And it's done. So I'm going to name it my palm. Then we're going to do our fingerprints. You want to make sure that your fingerprints are not dry. So we'll start that. Please put your finger in the fingerprint recognition. Please change the angle of your finger to enter more. Please enter the left side of the fingerprint. Registration successful. All right, so we've completed our fingerprints. And we're pretty much almost done. Now we need to close the door and do the calibration. So now we'll start calibration. The door's closed. So what I just figured out as far as the app saying the door's ajar, it's because I didn't install the striker plate on the other side of my door, and it's important because it has a magnet built in, I guess, that lets the door lock know that the door is actually closed. So if you don't install this, your door lock's not going to work properly. So I found a little workaround if you don't want to install the striker plate, or if you can't because it doesn't fit where your screws are and you don't want to drill new holes. I found a little workaround. All you need to do is get these little magnets, put them over the top of your plate, and when you close the door, it'll recognize that the door is closed, removing the need for this little magnet inside the striker plate. So you can see it works perfectly fine now. All right, so here we are back inside the application. Now that I've fixed the door problem, I'm going to say calibrate the deadbolt. Calibrate. And you can see now the door lock works fine. Countdown to lock. We'll say about 3 seconds. Confirm. Auto lock after door closes and completed. So it looks like the door lock disconnected from my Wi-Fi, so I'm going to have to try to connect that again. So our door lock only works on a 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi, so we'll have to change that. All right, so we're connected to Wi-Fi, and we're going to update the firmware. And then we'll just put our plate back over the battery. All right, so now we're going to connect the solar panel up to our door lock here. If we look in the back of the solar panel, it does have these really long, sticky foam pads to keep your solar panel attached to your door. I'm just using some small 3M adhesives because if I ever have to take this off the door, I don't want it to be too hard to take off or leave any of those foam pads on the door. So I'm just simply using my own 3M adhesive, but you can definitely use the pads that are on here. It will keep it affixed to your door. The first thing you want to do is to make sure your door is nice and clean before you put this on, because it'll just increase the stickiness to your door. We're going to plug this into the bottom of the door lock first, just so we can see kind of exactly where we want to put our solar panel. You also want to make sure that it's in the sunlight as well. And if you put it kind of towards the bottom of your door, it should be perfectly fine. Or you can kind of put it into the middle of your door, but then you also have to make sure that you route the cable, underneath your door handle if it's like this. But I'm going to put mine kind of right underneath here, and you want to make sure that the cabling can very easily fit around your door. So it looks like it's probably going to be something like this. That's going to be the best configuration. So I'm going to take off my adhesives. All right, so we'll fix this to the door. Again, making sure the cabling is run perfectly. Just press it into place. Then you can kind of use some sticky tack or something to kind of keep the cabling off to the side there. So that's what it looks like on the door. Again, I can fix that cabling later. So now we're going to go through the lock-in application itself. I'm going to show you all of its features and how everything works. So this is what you're going to see when you first open up the app. I've only got the one device, so that's all we see on here. At the very top of the app, you can see we have a couple different modes that you can put the lock in, depending on if you're home, away. You want to set the door lock to lock when you're going away from your house or coming home. And we also have party mode for when people are coming and going a lot. You can also view the camera just by simply clicking on that. It'll build your connection, and then it'll show what's on your camera for your door lock. So as you can see, it's very clear, and you can pretty much see everything that's in front of your door because of that fisheye lens. Here we have the option to manually record a video. We can crop. You can turn the sound from the lock on and off. We also have auto for its quality settings, HD and standard. I just keep it in auto because then it can automatically switch depending on how fast your Wi-Fi connection is. You can also unlock and lock the door from here. If you want to talk to somebody that's outside your door, all you simply need to do is to press the little phone icon here. It'll turn on, and then you can very clearly talk to somebody outside your door, and it actually works really well, and it sounds pretty clear. And this is what the sound quality is like when you're talking to someone that's standing outside your door. I actually think this is probably one of the best sounding outside your door. And this is what the sound quality sounds like with somebody standing outside your door trying to talk to you through the camera. We also have some quick replies that you can send people. You can also add your own voice reply if you need to, and you can also set the one-time password for friends and family that come over to your house. We can also put this in a landscape mode as well, and then return it back to our portrait mode. And we also have some settings that we can go into on the top right hand corner. So we'll go back for now. You can also see that you can unlock and lock the door directly from the Devices app. It shows your status, the battery status, as well as your Wi-Fi. At the bottom, we also have a list of events that your door lock has recorded. And if you want to check some of the video like we have here for other motion, just simply click on it. It'll go to that video and it'll show the recording that you clicked on, which is pretty convenient. And as you saw, it worked out pretty quickly. And that goes for different days as well. You can just kind of go through the days if you need to. But this just shows everything that happened for today. We also have our profile settings where you can manage all of your devices. You have your privacy and data protection. You have your language, app version, feedback, and the contact for the support. You can also set a snooze time for the door lock very easily. You click the snooze and you can set up a duration. Maybe you want to take a nap for an hour or something. You can set it to snooze for an hour and it won't send you any notifications during that time, which is pretty convenient. So now let's go into the settings of the application. At the very top, you can see the status. It's locked. We are connected to Wi-Fi. We have a very strong connection. We also have our battery percentage where you can see the little sun, and the solar panel is connected and our battery is at 100%. And that's pretty much how my door lock stays. Unless you have a ton of traffic, like the door lock is going on and off, you shouldn't have any problems charging the battery, especially if you have that solar panel. I probably get maybe an hour or two of sunlight on my door, and that's sufficient enough to keep the battery topped off at 100%. And then first we have our power manager where you can go in and change the different settings depending on if you want better surveillance for your camera or if you want better battery life. You can do that here. We've got optimal battery life balance and optimal surveillance, and you can also do a customization if you want to as well. We can go into our settings. You can see that you can change the video length. Right now I have it set to 20 seconds. And you can also set the interval. Basically what that does is once it's done recording, it'll wait this amount of time before it starts recording again. And you can also set the video recording time period from, maybe when you wake up in the morning till at night, or you can just have it record throughout the whole day. We also have motion detection settings where I have my areas setting here. Where the purple is the regular person detection, and the red is for my package detection. You see that the motion detection is in beta. It does work pretty well from what you can see from the videos. We have default and advanced for our detection type. I put advanced just because I wanted to take advantage of some of the other settings. We have the camera detection area that you can set. As you see here, I've got my package area set and my motion area set. You can also set a couple different areas as well. We've got smart alerts where you can set them to send you a notification for packages or other motion. You have that too, whereas I have a human and vehicle, and for the package I just have a package set. For the detection distance, you can set it between 3 feet and 20 feet, depending on how far out you want the camera to detect someone or something. Here we have our manage access where you can add people or take people away if you really want to. This is where you're also going to set up their palm detection, fingerprint detection, and manage their passwords. We also have a temporary password. Say somebody comes into town, maybe friends and family, and you want them to have a temporary password. While they're here, you can set it for a duration. Maybe they're here for a week. You can set this code to be effective for only a week, and once it's up, it just won't be in use anymore, which is convenient because then you don't have to worry about deleting and adding different passwords and things in, so that's pretty convenient. We've got our mode settings, like I mentioned before, those set the mode settings at the top of the application. This is where you go in and kind of customize that. You can have, different motion detections set for when you're home. You can do things for when you're away, and so on for geofencing and party. We also have our notification settings. Maybe you don't want to be notified for certain things. You can go in here and turn them on and off. We've got settings for doorbell, door open, which I like because if the door is left open, I want to get a notification for that. Someone unlocked the door when the door is locked, unusual events. And you can also have the notification jump right to the event or to live streaming when you click on it on your phone. We also have a welcome home message. You can use these ones that are built in, or you can customize one yourself. I chose to kind of customize one, and if you don't recognize it, it's something from Back to the Future. So whenever you come home, or whenever you have somebody else come home, use their password, fingerprint, or palm, whoever it's assigned to, that's what it'll say. It's pretty cool.
Welcome home, Tony, Lord of the Manor, King of the Castle.
We also have some smart responses. So if somebody comes to your house, maybe when you're not home, you can have the doorbell automatically say certain things depending on your situation. So if you're away from your house and you're waiting for a package, you can automatically have the door lock say, hey, leave my package here. I'm not home right now. Thank you.
Please leave the parcel outside, and if you'd like to leave a message, you can do so now.
But the only thing is, it's not going to detect who it is. So whoever comes to your door, this is what it's going to say. So we have the smart responses. You have the quick reply. You can have it set to 3 different presets, or you can set your own. And you also have the set response time, and that's how much time the doorbell will wait before it actually says the response. And then here we have our door lock settings. You have one-touch locking, so you can use the door little key button on the door lock to actually lock your door manually if you want to. You can also have it check your vein in your hand for the palm reading. Wake up palm vein automatically, so when you walk to your door, the palm reader will automatically turn on, and then you just have to kind of put your hand on in the front. And if you have that off, you're just gonna have to manually turn it on. And the way that you do that is you just walk up to the door lock and touch the touchpad, and it'll turn on the palm reader for you. I like to keep it on automatic because when you walk right up to your door, you want it to be ready for you to unlock. So that's convenient too. We have a doorbell light that'll automatically light up when someone approaches the door lock, and that's a little blue ring around the doorbell. We also have the holiday deployment, and basically what this is it protects your home when you're not there. So if you have this enabled and somebody opens your door from inside, it'll send you a notification. We also have our auto lock settings. You can have the door auto lock after the door closes. This really works well, especially for people who forget to lock their door, me included. I've done that before. So whenever you close your door, it'll automatically lock by itself. It's pretty nice. We also have a countdown to lock. So if you want to wait maybe 30 seconds, 10 seconds, a minute before the door locks, you can do that too, in case you're in and out of the door a lot. And we also have an auto lock timer, and basically what that does is it locks the door after a certain amount of time, regardless if the door is closed or not. So I'm not sure why you'd want to use that, but it's there. And then we have the wrong try protection. So if somebody's coming up to your door and just playing around with the keys, trying to figure out your code, after a certain amount of times, it will automatically disable the lock for at least 1 minute. Then we have our camera settings. It's just a live watermark. I have that turned off. We've got our audio settings. So here we have the prompt sound volume, which I have up to high, and that's pretty much going to set the wake up keypad buttons and lock and unlock sounds. I just like that to be set to high because I want to be able to hear it. We've got the lock trial and error volume. I've got that set to high. We've got the alarm volume, which again I have set to high. We have our alarm timing, which you can set from 10 seconds all the way up to a minute. I typically have it set to like 10 seconds. So if you leave the door open, it'll automatically sound after 10 seconds. We have the alarm duration. You can set between 3 and 10 seconds. I have it set to, I'll set that to 3. We have the doorbell volume, and we also have our door lock language. We have the calibrate deadbolt if you want to go back and calibrate that. Then we have Matter integration, and that's where you're going to go to set up your different digital assistants, such as Google Home or Amazon Alexa. Then we have device information, fact, feedback, and user and privacy agreement. Now, if you're curious, there is no micro SD card slot inside this door lock. It's all built-in storage, so it's all local and not stored on the cloud. And it has up to 32 gigs of internal storage, and that should save a pretty good amount of videos. And you can always easily clear that by going into your events, the little folder up at the top right-hand corner, and you can easily one-click clear all the videos you have saved. So now, as you can see from this video, you can clearly see everything on the screen except for the left-hand side of the screen itself. And that's because I've got this piece of wall protruding forward right where the camera is. If you have a regular door where it's just got a regular frame around it, you're going to be able to see pretty much what you see on the right-hand side. But for me, because I do have that piece protruding so far forward on the side, it's blocking some of the camera. But you can clearly see everything on the screen, all the way from the ceiling, all the way down to the floor and to the side. So no matter where anybody's going to put a package or even come up to your door, you're going to be able to see everything from head to toe. All right, so now I'm going to show you how fast the palm reader works. We're going to walk up to the door lock. You can see the palm reader reads my palm and opens in like less than a second. Super quick. So now I'm going to show you that it doesn't work using my other palm that's not registered. So I'm going to walk up to the door. See, it's not working. So it's not working. So now we're going to try my other palm that is red. Super quick. That is 1,000 times better than the fingerprint sensor ever was. And you can see that it also automatically locks by itself once the door lock is closed, and I have it set to lock after about 3 seconds. Now this big pad here not only is the manual unlock hole, but it's also your doorbell, and it is made of metal. So when you come up to and press it, you can hear the doorbell super loud from the inside of the door. And the touchpad also works really well too, in addition to it lighting up at night so you can very easily see what numbers you're putting in. It also has a security feature where you can type in pretty much any number you need before your actual password, so nobody actually really knows what your password is. So I'll show you how to do that now. So my password is 000888, but I'm going to put in a couple of numbers before that, and you'll see that'll actually still work. So we'll put in 1, 2, 3. And you can see that it did unlock my door because the ending password was my actual password. So I'll show you how to do this again. We can put in 543. And you can see it still unlocks the door. Or you can just simply put in your password and do the same thing. Or you can also put in your password and then put in some numbers after it, and it'll still work as well. You can see that it still does work. And I'll show you that it's not just unlocking the door no matter what. So I'll put in the wrong password this time. And you can see that it doesn't work. As long as your password is somewhere in there, it will unlock the door. And you can even put your password in the middle. You can see it still works. As long as your password is somewhere in there, it will unlock the door. And I also got my solar panel secured to my door. I just simply used some 3M clear double-sided adhesive, and it keeps the cable firmly in place. And the nice thing is it's not permanent, so if I need to take it off, I can always do that as well. Now let's also try out our fingerprint sensor. So you can see that works also really well. But I still don't think that the fingerprint sensor is nearly as good as the palm unlock. But it does work. But I absolutely love that palm unlock. Super quick, works really well. So now, unlike the fingerprint sensor, the palm sensor is supposed to work even if your hand is totally wet and even if it's dirty. And we're going to test that out right now. I'm going to totally wet my hand. So you can see my hand is totally dripping. We'll test out the palm sensor. And as you can see, it still works immediately. So another great use case for the palm unlock is if you or if you have kids, you were doing some work outside or your kids were playing outside and you happen to have your fingers covered in dirt or paint. If you're a child, you're obviously not going to be able to use the fingerprint sensor with hands like this, but you can still very easily use the palm unlock even though your fingers are like this. You can see it still works perfectly fine. It's so quick, you don't even need to put your palm directly in front of the sensor. You just kind of have to wave it across the top and it'll actually pick up your palm. Look how quick that was. So now we're going to test out the door lock, trying to unlock the door with my hand super dirty. Just got back from a hard day's work and we're going to try to unlock the door with my palm. As you can see, it still worked super quick even though my hand is super dirty. And here's another event example that the lock captured, good old FedEx. I was also curious to see how well the camera recorded in pure darkness, and as you can see, if you approach the camera, it actually does have a night vision camera of sorts that only illuminates a very small portion of what the camera can see. And as you can see from the second video here, just adding a little bit of light greatly increases the clarity and what the camera can actually see in front of your door. So if you guys made it this far, thank you so much for all your support, and I'm really interested to know what you guys think about the Veno Pro. Would it be something that you'd pick up? Do you like any of the features in particular? Let me know in the comments below. So now that I've had a chance to use the Veno Pro for a couple weeks, I want to go over some of the pros and the cons that I ran into with the door lock. So the first pro definitely has to be the palm unlock. It is super quick, very convenient, and it works really well. So you no longer have to even touch the unit. You just put your palm in front of the door lock and it automatically unlocks. And that's a big deal for me being here in Colorado because it's very dry. If you don't keep your fingers moisturized, the tips get very dry and sometimes they tend to crack, and that does not make for a very good experience using any fingerprint sensors whatsoever, whether it being a door lock or on your phone. Next pro is the installation. It's very easy, pretty straightforward. Everything's laid out for you in the installation guide, and it only really took me about 15 minutes to get everything set up. And even if you're not handy, you can very easily follow my installation video and you shouldn't have any problems installing the doorbell. The next pro is the build quality. This door lock feels very premium. It feels very solid. I also like the fact that they chose to make the keypad matte, so it keeps down the fingerprints and it feels nice and smooth. And the magnet option that they use to determine whether or not the door is open or closed also works flawlessly. Unlike some of the other door locks that I've used in the past that tries to use a gyro sensor to try to determine if the door is still open or closed, but the majority of the time the door gets confused and ends up locking the door even when it's still open. The next pro is the solar panel option. I haven't seen any other door lock that I've done reviews on use this option, and it's great because now you never have to worry about having to recharge your battery ever again. I typically always had to recharge my battery about 3 to 6 months, and it takes a long time to charge up that battery. I'd probably say 6 to 8 hours for a full charge, but again, because this door lock is always connected to the solar panel, that means it's always topped off. I also like the fact that it gives you 4 different ways to unlock the door lock, so even if your battery did happen to die, you can always use that key to unlock the door. The next pro is the 2K camera. It's very clear, and because of that fisheye lens, you can pretty much see everything that's around in front of the doorbell, from the ceiling all the way down to the floor. So if there is a package or something, you're going to be able to see it in front of your door lock, and the person that's coming to your door will be in full view. They will not be able to hide, of course, unless you have something for them to hide behind. The next pro is their two-way talk. This is the best that I've tested so far. The volume on the app end could be slightly louder, but there's almost no lag and it just works. Other doorbells that I've tested have had very broken two-way talking, which leaves you wondering if the person on the other end even heard you. And the last pro has to be the local storage. All your videos are stored locally inside the doorbell, they're safe, and there's no fee to access them from the app. Now let's move on to the cons. Now, even though these cons aren't very big, they're definitely something I wanted to let you know about, but they can be remedied fairly easily. Now, the first con has to do with the little door plate that actually comes with the lock. This little door plate is made of solid metal, and it comes with an embedded magnet, so the lock actually knows when your door is closed. The problem is the style plate that it comes with is too big for my door, and for me to use it, I'd have to drill all new holes. Now, the workaround that I came up with the magnet does work, but it's not ideal. And this can be very easily remedied by just including that other style plate. Now, the second con is a little bit bigger, but again, it can be remedied fairly easily, and that has to do with the night vision. The night vision only lights up a very small portion of the front of the camera, so if there's someone off to the side, it might be hard to see them. But you can, however, fix this issue fairly easily by adding a light outside, and if you need complete darkness, they do sell infrared bulbs that allow the camera to see perfectly, even though you can't. And there were also a couple features that I was not able to test out, but I reached out to Lockin and they assured me that those features would be available at the time this went out to all their customers, because this was a pre-release model. Other than those few cons, the door lock works really well, absolutely love it, and it's officially replaced my old door lock. And again, if you guys want to pick this up yourself, I will be putting product links in the video description. And if you guys enjoyed the video, please let me know by hitting the like button and consider subscribing. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.